say that. I'm sipping wine in a robe. I look too good to be alone. Keep my house clean, my pool warm.
Wagwan. Hi guys, how you doing? It's been a minute. So if you're new here, thanks so much for joining. I'm Michelle and I make fashion and sewing content. So today I'll be showing you how I made this fabulous set, and this is the skirt. So this video will be in two parts. Part 1 will be making the skirt and part 2 will be making the jacket. It has a very high slit. We have this jacket. So cozy, and it's lined. This fabric is giving Schiaparelli. If you don't know Schiaparelli, it's a fashion brand that makes just amazing work. You should watch some of the runway shows. The big leagues. The major leagues. I'm not in control. So I hope you enjoy the video and you can learn something. Like, share and subscribe. This is the fabric that I'll be using. It has this beautiful pattern engraved in it. So the first step is cutting out the patterns. This is the back pattern and I cut it on fold. And then this is a piece of the front pattern. Then we have the waistband. To get a more tapered waistband, draft the pattern curved so that the top of the waist cinches you and leaves no space. So I sewed along the shorter side of the curve, and then that's the part that I'll iron, and then the lower side will be attached to the skirt. Now this is the front of the skirt. I decided to add this metal ring. I finished it off with another strap to hold it on the side once the skirt is done. So this is the back pattern. For the back pattern, I only added dots just to make it more fitting. Right sides facing each other, it was time to sew on the side. I sewed everything and the skirt was almost done. It was time to add the zipper. I used an invisible zipper for this project. Sewed the zipper down and then it was now time to cut the lining. Everything I did for the actual fabric, I also did for the lining. But the lining was slightly shorter than the actual fabric. To line a skirt, make sure that the right sides are facing each other. As you can see, the right side of the fabric is facing out and I'm inserting it inside the right side of the lining. That way, the right sides are facing each other. Now you should note that the lining should be slightly shorter than the actual fabric just to avoid it peeking through. So at this point, I pull down the lining, make it the same length as the actual fabric just for sewing. So I sewed everything and I turned the lining back inside the skirt and then I pulled it to the waist. While pulling it, it also pulls a bit of the fabric with it, so you should account for that while cutting the fabric, because if you cut the lining too short, remember that it will also pull the fabric up to that length. So this is how everything turned out, and now we're done with the hem. Okay, it's now time to line the area around the zip. So X marks the spot, so I'm marking the right side of the lining to help with the demonstration of the next part. That we've marked the right side, remember right sides together, so put the right side of that lining to the right side of that zipper extension and then put your hand inside and pull the fabric out, and that's the area that you're going to sew. You can rewind and watch it as many times as possible if you haven't understood. So you will sew along the length of that zipper extension and you'll also do the same for the other side. Now this is how the lining turned out at the hem and at the zip. Now for the slit, I tucked in the lining at that area and then I top stitched it, so there was not much to it. I then added the waistband that I had sewn earlier and a hook, and now the skirt was complete, and this is how it looked like. So go to part 2 to see how I make the jacket and see the final look. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all on part 2.